I'm in my garage today, and in my last video I mentioned that I use a ski type bipod as well as many other F-class FTR shooters use ski type bipods while shooting FTR matches. In the comments I got a request to show the mat that the bipod rests on while shooting a match. So I've got out some of my mats here that I use for F-class or FTR matches, and that's why I'm making this video so I can talk about them. Underneath the blue mats here is a shooting mat. Most everybody that shoots prone, sling shooters as well as F-class shooters, uses a shooting mat. So it's just simply, in my case, it's a Midway USA roll-up mat. It's nice. I can just throw the little strap around my shoulder, and it's easy to get around. But that's just there's many different kinds of shooting mats, but that's just a run-of-the-mill shooting mat. So the first bipod that I had was it was a Sinclair F-class bipod. This is a very sturdy bipod. It's a little bit on the heavy side, but it's a very good entry-level bipod. So I started with when I started shoot at FTR, I started with a Harris bipod, but quickly graduated to a ski-type bipod, and that's what this is. This Harris bipod will, when the rifle recoils, it comes straight back on the skis. So that's what I started with, and that's a very good bipod. And I made this mat. It's actually a piece of wood that I cut a piece of. My wife had some yoga mat, an old yoga mat, and I cut that, wrapped it around the piece of wood, and put some on the bottom so it wouldn't. It's kind of a gripping surface there, a rubbery grip surface, and it would sit still. It'll grip onto that shooting mat. So this works very well. I make sure that that board was very flat. So you don't want a warped piece of board. I didn't want a warped piece of board because that would make my bipod kind of wiggle as I was shooting. But this was good and flat, and it stays pretty stationary. The F-class rules dictate the size and what you can use for a mat, and I think underneath the mat you can have they term it as a plate or a board underneath the mat. This mat is actually a board itself. So I guess some F-class shooters use different types, but that's how I started, and it worked out pretty well. But especially on concrete, because concrete is already flat to begin with. It's sat on top of the shooting mat. On top of the concrete was great, but if there was a grass surface and it was kind of bumpy, that wood would kind of rock. So I'd have to stomp it into place, and even then, it's still, if the grass was uneven, it wouldn't go so good. So then what I started doing, I saw another competitor and talked to him. He was using this horse mat. So these horse mat, you can see that I've cut out several of these from the end there. I think these this horse mat is for, I guess it's actually a stall mat, it's called. It's for horse stalls, and you get a bunch of them and put them together and just set them across along the floor in the horse stalls. So it's just a thick rubber mat. It's kind of spongy, and it is perfect for what I wanted it for, because now it becomes ground conforming. So if you have a little bit of a grassy area, you can lay this on top, and it will sort of not level, but it'll conform to the ground, rather than the board will just sit there stiff as a board and rock. This will not. This will stay in place. So that's what it looks like underneath. It's just the same thing as the other side of that larger piece. This was actually cut out of that and cut to size, and then this is more of that yoga mat that my wife had, and I just simply used some of this Loctite contact adhesive, contact cement, sprayed on the on the bottom of the yoga mat, spray it on the horse mat or a stall mat, and it works out good. This mat I originally made for this bipod as well. I made it a little bit longer and a little bit wider, and it worked out very well. Then I moved from this bipod, I don't have it anymore, but I moved to a Seb Joypod. And I really like that Joypod. However, I noticed there was just a little bit of play in the joystick, and it turned out not to be very good for me. I shot some really good scores with that bipod, but it just wasn't for me. I noticed that a lot of my other competitors that I shoot with were using the Phoenix bipod, so I thought I'd try the Phoenix bipod. I tried it, put it on the gun, liked it from the very first time I used it. It seems like it's a little bit more stable, and it is, for me, I like it better. So I ended up selling the Joypod, and then I got this. So when I got the Phoenix bipod, I needed to make a wider mat, and it's still the same length from front to back, I think, but it's wider for to suit the Phoenix bipod. So it's made out of the same material, made in the same way. However, I will say that it does delaminate, because the way I have the edge, I didn't wrap the edge over and stapled it. Maybe I should have. I don't know. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that contact cement, spray it in there, set it down, put some weight on top of it, and see if that holds. I just dropped the camera. I don't know if that'll show up in the video or not, but hopefully I'll be able to edit it out. At any rate, so this bipod, this rest works very well. All I need to do is probably glue that back, and it should be fine. It actually works now. I don't want that to get any worse. There's another rest, I guess, bipod rest that I made. This is just simply a piece of wood with some carpet cut out, but the shag I think is a little bit too tall. I don't know if it's illegal or not in FTR, but this does, there are not grooves in it, but the carpet itself seems to groove. And if I move the bipod side to side with the weight of the rifle on it, would take that with it. So I don't think I'll ever use that in competition, but I made it just to fool around with. But I don't think that, I wouldn't recommend using shag that deep. Also, before I wrap up the video, I just wanted to show this, the way I carry my bipods. The Sinclair bipod nor the Phoenix bipod come with a carrying bag. And there might be options for them, I don't know, but what I did was just bought this is a camera bag, and it works really good. It's long and thin, and it's got a strap that I can throw over my shoulder, so I can carry this along with a bunch of other stuff. And then I just put a box. This is actually the box the bipod came in when it was shipped to me. I just stick that in there and then zip that up, and I'm on my way. So that's a little idea that I came up with. I see a lot of competitors just pull these out, keep them loose, but I like to keep everything, all of my equipment in bags that I can throw over my shoulder and carry up to the firing line. Well, that'll wrap this video up. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time.